Welcome back. We're going to do a pair of heads now. This is the follow-up to the skull drawings that I recently posted. These are going to be a pair of imaginary heads from the side and from the front. We're going to begin with a very simplified version of the skull drawings that we just did. 2 half circles, ear hole, jawline, eye socket, brow ridge, nose cavity, muzzle form, and chin. That's all the detail we need for that. And carry this over. If you feel like I'm going too fast here and you don't feel confident in your ability to do this, you should do the skull video a few more times. So there's the cranium. There's the general shape of the face. Here's a center line to build things around. And here's the eye level, which goes through the center of the eye socket and through the center of the head and should be centered from top to bottom of the head. Okay. Again, pause all you need to. I'm going to move fast here. Skin on the forehead is very thin. The skin follows the brow ridge, follows this little indent below the brow ridge, and the nose is going to slope forward at about 60 degrees from horizontal. And we're going to double back. We're going to end only about halfway between the line of the face and the tip of the nose. And we're going to come almost straight down with the philtrum. When we get to the line of the teeth, we're going to be cutting in towards that line. We're a third of the way down again between here and here. Half circle for the lower lip. Small line segment underneath that, and a half circle for the chin. This creates the facial angle, which in some people, these points are all going to hit this line, and other people, the mouth is going to be set back behind it. In a few people, the mouth might project past this facial angle. The nose looks too small because I didn't do the nostril yet, and the ala, which comes back to the line of the face. And I show that with a little broken line. Line between the lips goes up and down and up again. Again, not coming much past the line of the face. Here's that pencil that I could fit under my brow ridge. My eye level is going to be right below that pencil, right about here. Make sure the eyelid projects past the front of the iris on top and on the bottom. Eyebrow kind of conforms to the brow ridge. Okay, sorry, I lost video there for a second. Eyebrow hugging the brow ridge. Sometimes we want to indicate just barely the front of the cheek like that, and a little crease at the corner of the mouth like that. The jawline goes up, but the line of the throat goes just about straight back on average people, and then curves down like that. The earlobe is going to appear just about under the ear hole. Top of the ear is going to be level with the top of the eye, And the ear itself is going to tilt back towards the back of the head like this. Now we're going to focus on ear details for a minute. We've got the tragus partially covering the ear hole. Antitragus faces the tragus. Then put your pencil in the center of the ear. Hook up and around for the helix. And then fade out as you go back behind the antitragus. And finally, we're going to go from the antitragus curving up and under the helix to create the antihelix. A little bit of shading and you're done. To finish the head, I'm going to draw the rest of the cranium and the back of the neck, which is parallel to the front of the neck. If you draw the collar, slope it like that. And this is a generic person of roughly average proportions. A little bit of shading is helpful but not essential. Okay, for the front view, we're going to put the eyes on this line. Start by making an eyeball that's a little bigger than an average size eye as a space holder, a placeholder, and then when you draw the actual eyes, make sure the inside corners go down below that line. The bottoms of the eyes go straight across, and then they curve up towards the outside like that. We're going to show a little bit of eyelid. And to check your work, you should have about the same amount of space here and here, about the same amount here and here, and just a little extra in the middle. If you want to look crazy, you want to show the top of the iris. But if you don't want to look crazy, you want to crop the top of the iris and just show the bottom 3/4 of the iris like that. Shade the iris, pupils really dark in the middle. And you can do a little bit of shading to represent the insides of the eye sockets, which you remember from the skull come closer together than the insides of the eyes. Sometimes you can even see the bottom margin of the eye socket, which shows up roughly where the sort of bags are under the eyes. The eyebrows follow the brow ridge again, like this. And now the nose. Very important, we're going to create a box for the nose first. We're going to drop straight down from the inside corners of the eyes, go straight across the bottom, and the nose has to fit within the bottom of this box. We're going to begin with a smile sitting on the very bottom of the box. We're going to put a teardrop on the left, a teardrop on the right, and then put this whole thing in parentheses. Showing the ala with a little bit of shading, and maybe a little bit of shading connecting the shadow of the eye socket to the shadow around the outside of the ala, like that. We do not want to do a hard line to make it look like a you know, a plastic nose. Now the mouth goes a third of the way between here and here. That we also begin with a smile, and then we go down and up, and create the familiar Cupid's bow form. Very important to understand, the Cupid's bow is not, as a lot of people seem to believe, Cupid's bow is not the top of the mouth. A lot of people draw that shape and then they just add a mouth underneath like that. That's not what we're doing. This is the line between the lips, and then we are going to draw the upper lip above it with shading and the lower lip below it with a little shadow like that. So again, we're going to do like this and like that. The chin is most of a half circle, a little less than a half circle right here. The cheekbones are parentheses that peak a little below eye level where the cheekbone is, like that. And then very important, you can see very clearly from the side that the angle of the jaw, where the jaw turns, is down below the corner of the mouth. I'm going to do the same thing from the front. Kind of slope up till we hit that height, and then we curve up and disappear under the cheekbone. And we do that on both sides, like that. You can add a little bit of shading to show the forms of the cheekbones. And again, fairly average looking person. Cranium. And the height of the ear is going to be level with the top of the eye and the bottom of the nose. And from the front, we mostly just have to draw the outside form of the ear, but it can be helpful to draw sort of the outside of the helix, flipping around and turning to the inside of the helix, like that, and then a little bit of the tragus underneath it. So that gives a real sense that the ear is turning inside out as it goes away from us, and creates a pretty good illusion of ear. The nose is not going to look right unless you shade it, so I'm going to do a quick shadow map and shading with a little coarse shadow on the tip of the nose, shadow accent underneath, and the neck is going to be about as wide as the angles of the jaw, give or take. And a lot of people don't think to shade the whites of the eyes, but they are in shadow where they go under the eyelid. And notice that if you do that, the eyes seem to be kind of set back under the lid, which is another problem with a lot of beginner work. Is it looks like the eyeballs are just sort of popping out past the eyelids, which again creates a little bit of a crazy eye kind of look. So again, this is what you need to know to get 100 on this assessment. Once you have proven to me in class that you can create believable drawings from imagination, both skulls and finished humans, front and side view, you will be ready to go ahead and start your self-portraits from the front and the side. And the assessment here really has to do with believability. There are a huge range of people in the world, but when you've succeeded at this, your drawing should be the type of people that if they were in public, like at the Crystal Mall or someplace, they would not attract a lot of attention. When you think about how many, that gives you a lot of latitude. There are obviously a lot of different faces in the world that look within normal parameters that if you saw them in real life, you would just walk right by and not think that was a very, very unusual looking person. But most of the drawings that beginners do from imagination are, in fact, pretty freakish in their proportions, and that's what we're trying to get away from. Thanks a lot, and have a good luck practicing.